Hi, let me tell you a story. Years ago, while living in Manhattan, New York, I heard this story from a friend, and his friend asked him, "What is it that I must do in order to inherit heaven?" And so this man told him, "You've heard of the golden rule, to do unto others as you'd want done to you. Well, there's more to it. That you should love God with all your heart, and you should love your neighbor as you love yourself." And so this man asked him, "Well, who's my neighbor?" So he told a story. He said one day a man was walking by and he noticed that there was a homeless man. And he was sitting on a grate over the train station. And it was a cold night. And he was dirty and he looked like he was either injured or robbed. And so as he was standing and just staring at all the people walking by, he noticed two men. One was a Hasidic Jew, dressed in his black coat and hat. And as he was approaching the man, he avoided him by crossing the street until he passed, and then crossed back over to the same side that he was on. And another man came by, and it was an imam. And he did the same. He crossed the street just before he got to the homeless man. He went in and out of traffic, avoiding the bicycles in the bike lane, and all this just to avoid the man. And once he passed him, he crossed back over to the side he originally was on. And then came along a young man who was tattooed, face, arms, and had this big cross on his necklace. And as he watched him, he didn't cross over the street. He went up to the man and he asked him if there was anything he can do for him. And the homeless man looked up at him and he said, "Yes, I've been hurt." So this young man waved down a taxi cab. They both got in. He brought him to urgent care. They cleaned up his wound. They patched it. And they gave him some IVs to hydrate him. Once they were done, this young man decided to take him to a diner to have a meal. And after the meal, he asked him if he can put him up for the night in a motel, which the man appreciated and said yes. So they drove to the motel, and the young man paid for a night's room. And as they walked up, he told the man, "I hope you feel better. I'll pray for you." And he left. So he was on his way back home when he decided to go to the Goodwill store and pick up some clothing for him, and also on his return to the hotel, he just paid for the remaining nights of the week. And he went upstairs and he gave him the clothing he purchased, and he said a prayer with him. And so then the storyteller asks the religious person, "Who do you think was his neighbor?" And the guy answers him and says, "Well, the one who helped him." And this man said to him, "You're correct. Go and do likewise." What a great story. I hope it inspires you as it inspired me.